Class 11th, Subject Physics, 7th chapter, Thermal Properties of Matter. Thermal Properties of Matter. From this chapter, let us see numericals from exercise. Numericals from exercise. The first numerical is a glass flask has volume 1 into 10 raised to minus 4 meter cube. It is filled with a liquid at 30 degrees Celsius. If the temperature of the system is raised by 100 degrees Celsius, how much of the liquid will overflow? If the coefficient of volume expansion of the glass is 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree Celsius, and while that of the liquid is 75 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree Celsius. So from this numerical, the given data is volume V equal to 1 into 10 raised to minus 4 meter cube. Initial temperature T1 equal to 30 degree Celsius. Final temperature T2 equal to 100 degrees Celsius. The coefficient of volume expansion of glass, that is gamma G, equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree Celsius. The coefficient of volume expansion for liquid is 75 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree Celsius, and we have to find out the volume of liquid that will overflow. Volume of liquid that will overflow. So in order to solve this, let us write the expressions for the coefficient of volume expansion of the glass and liquid. And therefore, for glass, gamma G equal to dV upon V into T2 minus T1. Gamma G equal to dV upon V into T2 minus T1, and therefore we can write dV equal to gamma G V into T2 minus T1. dV equal to gamma G V into T2 minus T1. Similarly, for liquid, gamma L equal to dV upon V into T2 minus T1, dV upon V into T2 minus T1, and therefore dV equal to gamma L V into T2 minus T1, gamma L V into T2 minus T1. Therefore, from this we can find the volume of liquid that will overflow. The volume of liquid that will overflow, and it will be found as phi gamma L into T2 minus T1 minus phi gamma G into T2 minus T1. From this, phi into T2 minus T1 will be taken common, and therefore we will get phi into T2 minus T1 into gamma L minus gamma G. Now putting the values, we will get 1 into 10 raised to minus 4 into 100 minus 30 into 75 minus 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5. Here gamma L minus gamma G is 75 into 10 raised to minus 5 minus 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5. From this 10 raised to minus 5 is taken common, and into bracket we will get 75 minus 1.2. Then solving this, we will get 70, that is 100 minus 30 will be equal to 70 into 75 minus 1.2, that is 73.8 into this 10 raised to minus 4 into this 10 raised to minus 5, we will get 10 raised to minus 9. So solving this, taking the product, we will get 5166 into 10 raised to minus 9. 5166 into 10 raised to minus 9, and therefore at last we will get 516.6 into 10 raised to minus 8 meter cube. 516.6 into 10 raised to minus 8 meter cube, that will be the volume of liquid that will overflow from that glass. Then let us consider the second numerical, that is, which will require more energy, heating a 2 kilogram block of lead by 30 Kelvin or heating a 4 kilogram block of copper by 5 Kelvin. So for that purpose, specific heat capacity of lead and copper is given. That is, specific heat capacity for lead is 128 joule, 128 joule per kilogram per Kelvin, and for that of copper is specific heat capacity is 387 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. And therefore from this the given data is M1 equal to 2 kg, M2 equal to 4 kg, that is mass of lead and copper. M1 is 2 kg, M2 is 4 kg. Then specific heat capacity for lead, S lead equal to 128 joule per kilogram Kelvin, and specific heat capacity for copper equal to 387 joule per kilogram Kelvin. Then delta T lead, that is change in temperature of lead, is equal to 30 Kelvin, and change in temperature of copper, that is delta T, equal to 5 Kelvin. And then from this, who will require more energy, that we will have to find, that is lead or copper will require more energy. And therefore for this, as we know that the specific heat capacity for lead, S lead, will be equal to Q lead upon M lead into delta T lead, that is Q upon M into delta T. So that from this we can write QL equal to, for lead, QL equal to SL into ML into delta TL. QL equal to SL into ML into delta TL. And therefore we can write QL equal to 2 into 128 into 30, that will be equal to 7680 joule. 7680 joule, equation number 1. Then similarly for copper we can write specific heat capacity of copper, that is S copper, will be equal to Q copper upon M copper into delta T copper, which will be further written as QC will be equal to SC into MC into delta TC. QC equal to SC into MC into delta TC. Putting the values, we can write QC equal to 4 into 387 into 5, which will be equal to 7740 joule. 7740 joule, equation number 2. Now we have to compare these two equations, and therefore we can write from equation 1 and 2. From equation 1 and 2, this QL is equal to 7680 and QC is 7740, and therefore we can say that copper block will require more energy. Copper block will require more energy. Then let us consider the third numerical, and it is given as specific heat of vaporization of water is 2.26 into 10 raised to 6 joule per kilogram. Calculate the energy needed to change 5 gram of water. We have to find out the energy to change 5 gram of water into steam at 100 degree Celsius. At 100 degree Celsius, and therefore the given data is, for this third numerical, given data is Lv equal to 2.26 into 10 raised to 6 joule per kg. 2.26 into 10 raised to 6 joule per kg. Then M is equal to 5 into 10 raised to minus 3 kilogram. m is equal to 5 into 10 raised to minus 3 kilogram, and therefore we can calculate energy needed. Q is equal to m into LV. By using the formula Q is equal to m into LV, that will be equal to 5 into 10 raised to minus 3 into 2.26 into 10 raised to 6. Now by calculating this product, we will get 11.3 into 10 raised to 3 joule. So this will be the energy needed to convert that 5 gram of water into steam, that is 11.3 into 10 raised to 3 joule. Then let us consider fourth numerical, and it is given that a metal sphere cools at the rate of 0.05 degrees Celsius per second when its temperature is 70 degrees Celsius, and at the rate of 0.025 degrees Celsius per second when its temperature is 50 degrees Celsius. Determine the temperature of the surroundings and find the rate of cooling when the temperature of the metal sphere is 40 degrees Celsius. And therefore for this fourth numerical, given data is rate of cooling dt by dt1 is equal to 0.05 degrees Celsius per second. Then second rate of cooling dt by dt2 equal to 0.025 degrees Celsius per second. Then temperature T1 is 70 degrees Celsius, temperature T2 is 50 degrees Celsius, temperature T3 is 40 degrees Celsius, and from that the initial temperature T0 and the rate of cooling dt by dt3, these two quantities we will have to find out. So T0 equal to question mark, dt by dt3 is equal to question mark. So first of all we will find the initial temperature, and therefore first one, that is A, dt by dt equal to C into T minus T0. According to Newton's law of cooling, we have this expression dt by dt equal to C into T minus T0, and therefore for first two rate of cooling we can apply this formula, and therefore we can write dt by dt1 upon dt by dt2 equal to T1 minus T0 upon T2 minus T0. This constant of proportionality from both these will get cancelled, and therefore on right side we will get T1 minus T0 upon T2 minus T0. Now putting the values we can write 0.05 upon 0.025 will be equal to 70 minus T0 upon 50 minus T0. 70 minus T0 upon 50 minus T0. Solving this we will get 2. Therefore 2 is equal to 70 minus T0 upon 50 minus T0. Now taking this cross multiplication and solving, we will get T0 equal to 100 minus 70, that is equal to 30 degrees Celsius. 100 minus 70, that is 30 degrees Celsius. That will be the initial temperature. Now let us find the third rate of cooling. So B, we can write dt by dt3 divided by dt by dt2. dt by dt3 divided by dt by dt2 will be equal to again T3 minus T0 upon T2 minus T0. T3 minus T0 upon T2 minus T0, that will be equal to 40 minus 30 upon 50 minus 30. 40 minus 30 upon 50 minus 30, that is equal to 10 by 20 will be equal to 1 by 2. Will be equal to 1 by 2. So that as this ratio is equal to 1 by 2, therefore we can write dt by dt3 equal to half into dt by dt2, half into dt by dt2. So as dt by dt3 upon dt by dt2 equal to half, therefore we can write dt by dt3 will be equal to half into this term, that is dt by dt 2, and therefore we can write half into value of dt by dt 2 is 0.025, and therefore taking this product we will get dt by dt 3 equal to 0.0125 degrees Celsius per second, 0.0125 degrees Celsius per second. Then let us go for the next numerical, that is fifth numerical. So fifth numerical is given as the volume of a gas varied linearly with absolute temperature if its pressure is held constant. Suppose the gas does not liquefy even at very low temperatures. At what temperature the volume of the gas will be ideally 0, and therefore from this fifth numerical we have given the pressure P is equal to constant. Similarly, N, that is number of moles N, will be equal to constant. So P is constant, N is constant. Then temperature at which the volume of gas is ideally 0, that we will have to find out. The temperature at which volume of the gas is ideally 0. So for that the solution will be at constant pressure. At constant pressure the volume tends to 0 as temperature tends to 0 Kelvin. At constant pressure volume tends to 0 as temperature tends to 0 Kelvin, that is T will be equal to minus 273.15 Kelvin. So this absolute 0 temperature, that is T equal to minus 273.15 Kelvin. Then let us go for sixth numerical, which is stated as numerical number 6. In olden days, while laying the rails for trains, small gaps used to be left between the rail stations to allow the thermal expansion. Suppose the rails are laid at room temperature, that is 27 degrees Celsius. If maximum temperature in the region is 45 degrees Celsius and the length of each rail section is 10 meter, then what should be the gap left given that alpha is equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5. Alpha is equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per Kelvin for the material of the rail section. So if you consider this material of the rail section, it is having coefficient of linear expansion alpha equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per Kelvin, and therefore for this given data is T1 is equal to 27 degrees Celsius, that is initial temperature. T2 is equal to 45 degrees Celsius. The length of rail section, that is L1 equal to 10 meter. Coefficient of linear expansion alpha is equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per Kelvin, or in terms of per degree Celsius, again it will be same, that is 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5. And then we will have to find out the change in length, that is L2 minus L1, L2 minus L1 equal to question mark. So for that we can use the formula for the coefficient of linear expansion of the material of that rail section, that is alpha equal to L2 minus L1 upon L1 into T2 minus T1. Alpha equal to L2 minus L1 upon L1 into T2 minus T1, and therefore we can write L2 minus L1 equal to alpha L1 into T2 minus T1, alpha L1 into T2 minus T1. Now putting the values we can write L2 minus L1 equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5, that is alpha, into 10, that is L1, into 45 minus 27, that is change in temperature. Solving this, we will get 1.2 into 18 into 10 raised to minus 4. So 1.2 will remain as it is. 45 minus 27, we will get here 18 into 10 raised to minus 5 into 10 raised to 1, we will get as 10 raised to minus 4, and then simplifying it, we will get 21.6 into 10 raised to minus 4 meter. 21.6 into 10 raised to minus 4 meter, which will be equal to 2.16 millimeter. 2.16 millimeter, that will be the change in length. And now let us go for the seventh numerical, which is stated as numerical number 7. A blacksmith fixes iron ring on the rim of the wooden wheel of a bullock cart. The diameter of the wooden rim and the iron ring are 1.5 and 1.47 meter respectively at room temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. To what temperature the iron ring should be heated so that it can fit the rim of the wheel? For that purpose, again, the coefficient of linear expansion alpha is given as 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per Kelvin or per degree Celsius. And therefore, in order to solve this, first of all, let us see the given data for this numerical, that is D1 equal to 1.47 meter, D1 equal to 1.47 meter, D2 is equal to 1.5 meter, D2 equal to 1.5 meter, T1 equal to 27 degrees Celsius, T1 equal to 27 degrees Celsius, alpha is equal to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per Kelvin or per degree Celsius, and T2 that we will have to find out, T2 equal to question mark. Now if you consider the circumference of the circular ring or that rim, it is given by 2 pi r into pi d, 2 pi r into pi d, and therefore from this equation we can write alpha is equal to pi d2 minus pi d1, pi d2 minus pi d1, that is the change in circumference, divided by original circumference of that rim, that is pi d1 into t2 minus t1. So this will be the change in length per unit original length per degree rise in temperature, and therefore alpha is equal to pi d2 minus pi d1 upon pi d1 into t2 minus t1. From this we can write pi d2 minus pi d1 equal to alpha pi d1 into t2 minus t1, alpha pi d1 into t2 minus t1, and therefore t2 minus t1 will be equal to d2 minus d1 upon alpha d1, d2 minus d1 upon alpha d1. Neglecting this pi on both sides, we will get this relation, that is t2 minus t1 equal to d2 minus d1 upon alpha into d1. Putting the values, we can write 1.5 minus 1.47, 1.5 minus 1.47 divided by 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 into 1.47, 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 into 1.47, which comes out to be 1701 degrees Celsius, 1701 degrees Celsius. And from this we can find out the final temperature T2 as T2 minus T1 is equal to 1701. Therefore T2 will be equal to T1 plus 1701, and therefore T1 is 27. So 27 plus 1701, 27 plus 1701 will be equal to 1728 degrees Celsius, 1728 degrees Celsius.